did want to lightly touch on the Diontae Johnson situation, man. Obviously, just kind of recapping where we're at with this thing, man. We got new information. We obviously know that Cooper Kupp signed the deal that he did. We know that that's going to boost the market, right? When we're talking about franchise tag, potentially it takes that number down to, I think, a hard 20 mil in terms of what that would be for Diontae if they were not to get a deal done this year. And obviously Diontae's been saying all the right things through his interviews and stuff. Man, he's more so focused on just balling. He's more so, not going to pocket watching. This what we talked about on the last show and stuff. But what I wanted to do though was shout him out though, man, because the way that he's been handling this, in contrast to how some of these guys around the league have been handling it, I think he's been doing a good job. Even though we know he's disgruntled, even though we seen when he, did his little soft protests in terms of not showing up to some of the OTA offseason workout stuff. We know the whole social media thing and things like that. But as a whole, he really never went out of his way to cause any type of distractions. He really hasn't forced his hand with his agent or playing through the media, sending messages and stuff like that. Whereas when you look around the league, man, other guys, they aren't being as quiet about it. Other guys, they aren't handling it as well. And granted, yeah, we can find multiple ways to get paid, but I always appreciate guys taking just a smoother vehicle than the rocky one of getting to that destination. I just think for Diontae, man, he's taking a good approach by showing up, by working, and actually participating in practice. He's not doing a hold-in. That was the other thing, because we've seen hold-ins where, guy shows up, but he's not practicing. He's not taking part in any of that stuff. That does happen. Might be happening. But
well, there are reports out there.
Okay, that's all.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I'm about to say because that
is what it is.
Yeah,
whatever.
That was
TJ did it last
that happened ASAP. Yeah, as soon as we seen day one, I'm like, oh, that's a hold in, and it was like, oh, we can't say this just yet. I'm glad that is out there now. So yes, that has definitely been going on. But it's a contrast though. Like Diontae, he's working. He's actually practicing. He's participating. Minka, like you talked about, like he's not. He's doing the hold in, and both ways work. And even with Minka, I still applaud Minka's way as well, because that's the approach that TJ took. And we said, man, by you being here, it still keeps it, it keeps it from becoming a distraction. And
it did become a distraction the longer it went, because nothing was done.
But think about if TJ wouldn't have been there, how much crazier that situation would have been. It would have been way worse. It would have felt like way more pressure and all those things along with that. But because he was still showing up, we all had that feeling that, a deal is going to get done in time because they're both there. They both want it to happen. Whereas when you get these guys that aren't showing up, it's like, man, if y'all are that off where he's not even willing to show up to see you guys, like, what's the likelihood of this getting done? And then when it does get done, how long does it take for him to get his body acclimated and up to speed? We talked about with TJ last year, how early on it took him some time. We could see it. We said, man, health in terms of conditioning, it was not what it had been in years past. So with Diontae, it's like, man, you're not going to have to worry about that because you're actually working. You're taking part of this thing. Whereas Minka, that is something that we might have to consider if this continues deep into training camp. I still feel like he probably gets paid before Diontae, though, because I think that he's more of a priority than Diontae. So I think that deal gets done before it becomes a lingering issue like how TJ's became later on in camp. But either way, both of them dudes showing up, I like that. But more importantly, with Diontae actually working as well, it's just like, man, like people criticize him and rightfully so in certain elements of it. I know we talk about the money and stuff, but it's like, for you to still show up, man, that means something. So I did like that about him.
Yeah, you got to love all of his quotes because it goes back to exactly what you're saying. At the end of the day, I can only move forward and just control what I can control. I want to be here. I'm patient. I'm just going to keep working. My agent is going to do what he do in that situation, and I'm not going to focus on that. And then just being real about all the other contracts that are happening for receivers. He says, it's not like you don't see it. You see it. Yeah. A bell rings in your head like such and such got this, such and such got that. I try not to look at that or pocket watch. Whoever gets the contract, they deserve it. They obviously put in the time and the work. My time is going to come. Just being patient. If it comes this year, it's a blessing. If I don't, keep working.
Yeah.
How can you beat that?
Like, I love that mindset. I love how he's handling it, though, man. Like I said, and it's not easy. I'm sure he's pissed off every single time he has to show up out there. I'm sure in some parts he feels slighted. Like, man, am I taking the L by showing up? Am I being the first one to blink because I pulled up? versus taking a harder stance versus how, I mean, we talk about like DK Metcalf, you talk about Deebo Samuel, you talk about some of these other guys who've taken hard stances of, hey, I will not come back here without a deal, or I do not want to play here. And you see these headlines, you hear these coaches saying, well, yeah, I thought that he would at least show up to this part, but he did not. That becomes a distraction. That becomes a little bit of an issue. And then the team feels that. Everybody feels that. And you're wondering, like, all right, man, are you about to start trying to hype this guy up like what L. Bell said? Like, yo, man, what's going to happen is you don't play, they're going to hype him up. And it's like, we've seen, honestly, bro, like, we've seen how this works, bro. And he's like, it's legit. So it's like, man, you avoid that in the sense of your Diontae, though, because you're there. You avoid that in the sense of your Minka because you're there. Whereas when those guys don't show up, when you're in practices, the way the coaches like to praise these guys who are filling in, you're just like, bro, that play was not like that. Hey, man, that's what I'm talking about right there. We went with that, right? That works right there. The whole bunch of that going on. It's like, man, the guys feel that. And it becomes more of like a divisive tactic in a sense, because now you're saying to yourself, like, yo, are you trying to do this so you don't have to pay my guy? You don't have to pay my boy right here? Or do you really believe that this guy is ready to take that next step? And it just makes it's just an added thing to deal with. Not that it really is going to account for wins and losses, but you don't want to have people and players having to deal with that type of stuff all the time, because it's already enough that you got to deal with in its own right. But luckily here in Pittsburgh, we are not having to deal with that. And it's a breath of fresh air, man. I'll tell you that.
I think with Minka's scenario compared to Diontae, Minka has a little bit more pull with his decision. It's a little bit more understandable with him being a 2-time All-Pro, making 2 Pro Bowls, whereas with Diontae, I mean, because Minka is kind of like TJ. If we didn't have them in either of these respective seasons, like TJ last year, Minka this year, that's absolutely devastating. Whereas with Diontae Johnson, if he decided to do the whole holdout thing, it's like, all right, let's see what Anthony Miller got. Let's see what Calvin Austin got, George Pickens. I'm sure we can make this
options.
work. Yeah, it's not optimal because I would rather just have Diontae Johnson on the field, but there's 2 different scenarios here.
Yeah.
And probably, well, the money might actually be similar just because of the receiver market versus the safety market, which is weird to say.
Yeah, but you're right. Yeah, because 20 for Diontae doesn't make him highest paid at that position. 20 for Minka, he's highest paid at that position conversation. Yeah.
Whereas you're fine with Minka getting the highest paid.
Absolutely. We're not even thinking twice about it. Like, yo, give him the 20 if he wants 20. That's
Diontae
what it is.
getting 20.
It's like, whoa.
And I don't even know where he would be right now with that. Is that in the teens?
Yeah, that's still not even top 10.
So you got to see. I mean, AJ Brown getting these deals, Cooper Kupp's up to almost like $30 million.
We talked about Kirk. We talked about Diggs, new deals. Devontae, new deals. Tyreek,
a lot of the new ones are like
25
plus.
Yeah, so they probably wouldn't even put him in that top 10 category.
Man, and we were questioning paying him 15 whenever those early reports came out. Now I'm telling you, I think it's a bargain. I think I might have been wrong about that. 15 might not be a bad deal.
But that's if you allow the market to keep going this way. And that's what you have to ask yourself. Just because others are paying that, does that mean you should pay that? And that's what you've heard the Steelers talk about when they said, hey, we saw other teams operate. We just don't operate like that. So just because everybody else is paying good players great money, that don't mean that we're supposed to play a good player great money. You know what I mean? Like, it's a difference. So I think that's why the Steelers have been as patient as they are. I think that's why, they drafted the way that they drafted as well, bringing in Pickens and bringing in Austin, because they were considering all those things. But I just think that they march to the beat of their own drum. They don't feel the need that, if everybody else is paying 20, we got to pay 20. It's like, nah, because that's how you fall into that trap. And then we become like everyone else. And that's very different than the Steelers as a whole historical franchise, like why we are who we are, because we do things very differently. So, yeah, I'm like, man, the 15, not a bargain. I think the 15 would have been right.
Yeah, I think 15, like if we paid Diontae 15 right now this offseason, I feel like it'd be a solid deal.
We would have felt good about it. We didn't feel like we would overpay or underpay. We was like, yo, that was just a good deal. We're confident we're good in it. 20, I don't think we feel like that.
Because 15 would be based off what he's done thus far, which is he's been really solid. The problem has been the drops.
Yeah.
And that's why I can understand the Steelers for being patient and seeing how this year plays out.
Yeah.
Because if the drops continue in critical moments or whatnot,
can't do 20. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, then you're at a decision of franchise tagging. Yeah. Maybe you just do that so you could keep Diontae's rights. Yeah. But maybe you're not looking at him as a long-term solution then.
But if you're Diontae now, you're not taking less than 20. That's the floor. So.
Oh, you think he's thinking 20 right now, him and his agent?
That's the franchise tag now.
next year.
Yeah, with Cooper Kupp's new deal, it takes it to 20.
So you're saying
why would
the deal happens right now, it's going to be for 20 a year. Why would you sign
for less than that? Yeah. No different than how when we talked about Bud Dupree's situation when he came to franchise tag. It was like the franchise tag was going to pay him 14. We weren't trying to pay him that. So it was like, yo, you shouldn't take anything less than what that tag's going to pay you. Take the tag. Make them force their hand that way. So if you're Diontae, I don't see you going for anything less than 20 here in Pittsburgh when you know you're going to be able to get that tag for that price amount.
Maybe 17, 18 if it's guaranteed money
but
for 3-4 years.
But
you know
that 20
I mean?
is guaranteed as well.
For 1 year.
But you could hit that 20 and say, I'm going to hit the market after that.
Right. No, exactly. And
it's
just there's a little more security. Just
true.
A little more.
Yeah, it's very definitely true. But you also ask yourself, hey, do you want to be the guy that signed a deal for security and now a year later when the next guy gets paid and you're sitting at 18, 19, guaranteed, but this guy that you know your productivity was better than, but because he's signing and this is the market, now he's going to get 26. Now he's going to get 25. Like that's the type of stuff. Yeah.
Understood. Especially if you believe in yourself, which I think Diontae does.
Yeah. Man, just thinking, bro, the Kirk deal. That's the one.
Terrible.
That's the one.
Embarrassing.
Because it's like you can make a case for Diggs, you can make a case for Tyreek, you can make a case for Diontae, and we could still feel fine with saying, hey man, 15, 18 for Diontae. Even Dagon Cooper Kupp getting his deal. It's like, yo, you can still make a case for whatever you want to make. But it's like you can't, how do you say that Diontae isn't worth more money than Christian Kirk? That's the problem right there to me, man.
Okay, you ready for this? I got it. I got this sorted by average per year.
Yeah.
So Tyreek Hill top at 30. Devontae Adams they got at 28. Hopkins 27.5. Cooper Kupp at 26.7. AJ Brown 25. Stephon Diggs at 24. I thought it was 25, but 24. DJ Moore at 20. Keenan Allen at 20. Chris Godwin at 20. Amari Cooper at 20. Wait, where the hell is... Okay, Kirk. They have Kirk at 18. Am I reading this wrong?
Hold on.
I thought he was like 22, right? Mm-hmm. This might be fake news. This website might be fake news.
Which cap?
Because I thought Devontae Adams was at 32.
Did you go to
Hold on. That wasn't Spot Rack. I'm not gonna say who the other website is. I don't want to take them down too much because they're trying out here.
They're trying.
All right, hold on. Value. No, this is just. Oh, here it is. No, I guess Devontae Adams is 28 because this is Spot Rack.
Okay.
Kirk is 18, I guess. They're actually right.
Let's see.
4 for 72. I guess that adds up to 18.
I ain't even a math wizard. I'm going to just put it in my calculator.
4 for 72. The signing bonus was 20 for Kirk. Maybe that's what it was.
Okay. Yeah.
Still, that's a lot.
That's it, yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Michael Thomas is at 19. Cooks is at 19. Mike Williams just signed for 20. So if he's signing for 20, Diontae very much has a case for 20.
If Mike can get 20. How does Mike get 20?
DJ Moore at 20.
Yeah,
Deontay's got a case.
20. You're not taking less than 20, bro.
I wouldn't blame him. Some of these other receivers getting these contracts.
But if you're the Steelers, are you gonna hold the bag because of these other guys' mismanagement, these management issues?
No, I get it. 15 would be
bro.
Absolutely reasonable. Good deal, both sides. I think if you can get it in between, I think that would work.
Yeah,
17, 18. Give them some guaranteed money. 3-4 years.
I can see both sides now because if I'm the Steelers, I don't want to pay that just because other teams have paid that. Because I'm saying other teams are foolish. But if you're Diontae, it's like, yo, other teams have paid that. I am not taking anything less than that.
Yeah, and I've performed better than them.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I made a Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
We'll just wait because that's what I think the Steelers are going to do, and rightfully so. Because you do want to see what Diontae Johnson does this year.
Yeah.
Because even though he can put up the stats, make the Pro Bowls and stuff, there have just been some really inopportune drops.
No,
and if you think you can replace his production to 80, 90% with Pickens, Calvin Austin, Anthony Miller, that's the better value for the Steelers.
And honestly, I mean, even if you, because I know people will say, man, you want to get something for him, trade him, but it's like worst case, he's going to break the bank if he does leave. If say he balls out like he does, and then it's like, we're not going to pay you that. You price yourself out. Well, you still get comp picks for him anyways, whether it's third, fourth round, depending on how much that money is. I forgot the formula of it, but when you're talking about a deal of that level, you're going to at least get something back. So that could have been the pseudo trade that you was looking for anyways, right? In the sense, if we're trying to just make it where we're not leaving empty-handed or letting him leave empty-handed and stuff like that. But yeah, if you're the Steelers, man, you can't pay that type of money just because other people have, man.
No.
Yeah.
Oh. At the end of the day, I want Diontae on the team this year.
Yes.
I would like him long term too. I would like the drop issues to be fixed, which we're definitely heading in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
And he's around.
Yes.
Because he can create separation like no other on this team.
I would definitely agree with that, man.
The only problem is you can't really take the top off the defense. That's why we got Pickens.
This is definitely true
Pickens
as well.
and Austin.
Both things can be true.